Hello and welcome. I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and wow, is the sun shining this morning. It is just such a beautiful day here in Richmond, Virginia. Well, I am back at Tom Leonard's to share with you another food that God has put such nutritional healing in it that I can't wait for you to discover it. You probably already know about it, but this is for your bones, your heart, your anti-inflammatory, and it also is anti-cancer. So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to take you to my kitchen and we're going to turn it into ice cream. Now I know I've piqued your interest. Well, thank you for watching The Biblical Nutritionist, and it is always my joy and my honor to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. That includes 3 ingredients that I get to share with you. Number 1 is to help you be confident in the kitchen, confident with your health, and number 3, most importantly, confident in understanding how much God loves you with an everlasting love, and He desires to have a relationship with you. Now, let's go inside and check out this vegetable. Well, it's springtime here, so we get to walk by all these beautiful perennials. I love perennials. I love to plant something once and then get to enjoy it for many years to come. Now, this is something really unique here. I may have to check this out and get some of these for my yard. Now, as we come in the store, typically you have the fruits up front, and strawberries are usually very close to this vegetable. Yes, today it's all about rhubarb. What's inside this rhubarb just starts a cascade of anti-inflammatory throughout your entire body. I mean, these start a free radical rage, which if you don't know about free radicals, you need to watch my Treasures of Healthy Living DVD and CD series where I teach all about that. Plus, you've got Dr. Cooey and several other specialists in that series that you can learn so much from. Okay, so back to rhubarb. We're going to get the vitamins that are necessary just to have healthy days. Vitamins A, vitamin C, vitamin K, your B vitamins, that's Be Happy, that's anti-aging. You're also going to get your minerals, your magnesium, your manganese, your calcium. So this is for strong bones, just look at it. This is for a healthy heart. This is for anti-inflammatory. And that free radical advantage and all those antioxidants inside these vegetables, that's anti-cancer. So if you say, Annette, you say the same things with every food, that's because I'm teaching you God's recipe for excellent health, which is always from the 3 principles that I teach you. So 1, eat the foods that God called food for us. Well, this fits. Number 2, eat it as close to the way He designed it. Well, we're going to head to the kitchen and make some ice cream. That's fairly close, and you're going to love the ingredients. And then number 3, eat this before it's been altered beyond its benefit, and don't let it become an addiction. I don't think anyone's getting addicted to rhubarb today. Be sure and put in the comments down below how you love to eat your rhubarb. I can't wait to read how you enjoy it. When you cook with rhubarb, typically we're adding a lot of sweetener, and white sugar has been the mainstay for years. Well, get rid of that white sugar. It does no good for your body. Instead, use some of the sweeteners that I'm going to teach you when we get to the ice cream. In fact, let's just go there now. So today we're going to actually make some rhubarb ice cream. In fact, I got this recipe from the Vitamix company. They called it rhubarb nice cream. Well, it's definitely going to be nice to your cells, and I think it's going to be nice to your taste buds as well. Although I'm going to share with you several different ways how you can make this any flavor that you want. So we're going to use our chopped rhubarb. I have 2 cups of chopped rhubarb. I have some date paste. But as an alternative, I also have some pomegranate molasses. Now, I teach you how to make both of these in the new book that just came out, 7 Foods of the Promised Land. I am so excited about this book. It just tickles my fancy because I've been talking about it for 7 years and we finally got it published. And I'm excited about Bold Vision for giving me that contract to publish this book and for their vision for what is possible. Now, these are two of the ingredients. We're also going to use 1 stick of cinnamon, 1/3 cup of cold water, and some cashew milk. So I went ahead and soaked some nuts last night. I soaked 1 cup of nuts, and I actually have a mixture of cashews and hazelnuts. And in that, I added 1 cup of water. So it's 1 cup to 1 cup, or 1-to-1 ratio. And then I also soaked 2 to 3 dates. Now, how do I soak 2 to 3? Well, I actually chose 3, but you could just soak 2 dates, 1 date, 3 dates, whatever you want to be a natural sweetener for your milk. It really tastes better when you have dates in it. Now, to show you how to make our milk, all we do is just take this mixture. I soaked it overnight. You could soak it for a couple hours, but it was just easier to do it overnight. And then throw that in your Vitamix blender. Make sure you have the lid on. I have done it both ways, and it's much more attractive when I put the lid on. And then we'll just start that up. Now my cashew milk is not quite as liquidy as what you get in the store. I could have added a little bit more water for it because the dates kind of soaked in all of that water. So it's still going to work well for our recipe though. I don't really need a liquidy milk for the recipe. Now, here's what we're going to do. Let me get my favorite spatula here. We're going to take the milk. You want approximately 1 cup, 1 1/3 cups of your nut milk. Now mine is going to look like almost like oatmeal, but that's okay. It will still work. And I don't mind when my recipes and my cooking videos don't look perfect, like they don't look picture perfect. But if you would have used nut milk bought from the store, you would have had definitely a good liquid for this. I don't mind making mistakes on video because I want you to realize you can still work with it, and that's important. To this, we're going to add 1/3 cup of cold water. Now you get to choose. Do you want to use date paste, or do you want to use the pomegranate molasses that I taught you how to make in this cookbook? And if you're subscribed to this channel, I'm going to be doing several recipes from this cookbook on this channel. So I really want you to watch that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the pomegranate molasses. Although pomegranates and dates are both part of the 7 foods of the Promised Land. So I could use this recipe to teach my family, just the beauty of what God has given us. All right, I have that in there. Now this is supposed to be our sweetener. As you know, rhubarb is tart and acidic, so it helps if it has a sweetener. The pomegranate molasses is not super sweet. So you might want to add just a little bit of a sweetener if it's not quite the way you think your family's going to love it. Now to this, in our pot, we're going to add the 2 cups of chopped rhubarb. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook this on the stove for about 15 to 20 minutes. I want the rhubarb to get nice and tender and really soft, and I want the juice to absorb and to just I want it to reduce, is really what it's called. So we want it to reduce. Now we're already starting a little bit thick, but that's okay. I still want it to really get into a good flavor, a well-blended flavor, and then to reduce it, because this is going to be our topping on top of the ice cream. So you know what you want it to be. You almost want it to be like a jam or a jelly. And we're using our rhubarb for this. Okay, I'm going to put this on the stove for about 15 to 20 minutes, and in the meantime, we will go ahead with the rest of our recipe. Well, now it's time to make our ice cream. We're going to be using some nut milk. You can look on this video as I show you how to make nut milk. Basically, it's just a 1-in-1 ratio. Let's say 1 cup of nuts, your choice, cashew, walnuts, pecans, hazelnuts, almonds, and then 1 cup of liquid, which will be water. You could also soak that with 1, 2, or 3 dates, let it sit overnight, and then blend it up in a high-powered, Vitamix or a good blender. Then you have your nut milk. So what we're going to do is add our 1.5 cups of nut milk, and we're going to add to that a cinnamon stick, and we're going to blend this up. Now, if you don't have any cinnamon sticks, make sure you watch my video on how to choose the right cinnamon, because not all cinnamon is real cinnamon, and not all cinnamon can help you if you have diabetes. And that's what cinnamon is known for, is to help people who have diabetes. Now, what we're going to do is add our bananas. So it's about 1.5 pounds of frozen bananas, which is about 2 bananas. You might want to go ahead and, oh, I just took that lid off and boy, does that cinnamon smell good. One of the ways to know you always have real cinnamon is to buy the sticks and blend them yourself. Now I've taught you in other videos that you can just go ahead and do this in your mock mill. The mock mill will take a cinnamon stick and turn it into fresh cinnamon powder. But I gotta warn you, your kitchen is gonna smell so good. If you were to just smell that and then go back to your spices and open up a container of already powdered cinnamon, the aroma is totally different. Now, we're gonna go ahead and blend this. So we have our nut milk, our cinnamon, which if you don't use a stick, just go ahead and use a 1/2 teaspoon of powdered cinnamon. And to this, we're adding our frozen bananas. Now this is not an exact science, it's just about flavor. So if you choose to add more bananas or less bananas, that's okay. If you want to make a chocolate, add some good organic chocolate cocoa powder. Or you can add a little protein by adding in a good chocolate protein powder or a vanilla. I have one protein powder that I'm learning to make my own vegetable dip and fruit dip out of. It's so good. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so I can teach you that recipe. Now I just need to get a bowl and we'll put this in the freezer. Now for this next step, we're going to make our syrup. So this is your topping. And this is where we're going to use our 2 cups of chopped rhubarb. Now don't forget, if you have leftover rhubarb, go ahead and use it in your ambrosia, throw it in a cabbage salad. It just tastes like a sour apple, like a granny apple or a green apple. To this, we're going to add 1/3 cup of cold water. And to this, we're going to add either some pomegranate molasses or some date paste. I have both of these recipes in my cookbook, The 7 Foods of the Promised Land. Now this book has some delicious recipes, which I just mentioned, but it also teaches you why God chose those 7 foods. It's just going to really tickle your fancy and just, I used to always say, it's just going to bring praise tickles, to your toes, all the way up to your nose. It's just that good. Now, with this, we're making a syrup. So we're gonna cook this on the stove for about 15 to 20 minutes. We want it to be nice and tender for the rhubarb, and we want the liquid to reduce. Now, as you can see, it is pretty much reduced in half, and it will get thicker as I allow it to cool. But the main thing is my rhubarb is fully cooked. It's gonna be nice and just delicate to eat and to taste and just to get all the flavors marinated together. So I'm going to turn off the stove and just let that cool down to room temperature. Well, we have our ice cream ready. I have been stirring it up to keep it freezing in the middle, and we just have some delicious ice cream. Now, as you know, as I keep trying to tell you, sweetness is a personal preference. So if you're saying, hey, Annette, I like the flavor, it just wasn't quite as sweet as what I'd like to have, well then definitely add either some more bananas or add some stevia or some monk fruit to it, and you'll have a delight that you will enjoy. Here we have our rhubarb sauce, and it cooked up beautifully, and as you know, as it sits and cools, it definitely will thicken. So we're just gonna pour that on top of our. You ever notice how beautifully sometimes people in different YouTube videos, they just make it look like it's an artistry, and with me, it's always just globs. But that's okay. It still tastes amazing. And there we have our rhubarb nice cream. And you can make this so many flavors. You could add chocolate chips to it. You could add chocolate cocoa powder. You could have other flavorings, other extracts. You could make it an orange flavor, or you could make it just a lime or a mango flavor. Definitely have fun with the recipe. It is finally here, my latest book, and this is such a treasure. I am so excited about this book, 7 Foods of the Promised Land. Why these 7 foods? Does it really matter? Why didn't he choose broccoli? You know how I teach about that. But no, these 7 foods are so specific. God had a purpose for each one of these foods to be a lesson for us to learn from. The way he shares his love through these 7 foods is incredible. Not only how nutritious they are for us, but how delicious they are for us and how spiritually encouraging they are for us. I can't wait for you to get your hands on my new book, 7 Foods of the Promised Land. Be sure and check out any of your retailers. It's available everywhere, even on my website. And while you check it out and read this book and enjoy it, be sure and leave a review on Amazon or our website. I'm going to be doing some fun giveaways for people who leave a review. Thanks for watching, and I really want you to check out 7 Foods of the Promised Land.